Critic got the juice.
Hello everyone, it's me shouting at you down zero here. Welcome to the reaction video. Today is Tuesday and today we're gonna react to this video I found. It's called Little Big Planet Minute 8 Mystis Unbanned Legend. Scared, weird, Little Big Planet mysterious. Oddities. The video is made by Blazing Vinci YT. Now this video was made 1 year ago in last 2024, and he made a story of this Little Big Planet. In case you know, hold on for a minute. I think they search. No. In case you know this Little Big Planet, if y'all already been know the game very well if you a kid, but hold on for a minute. If y'all know Little Big Planet, it was a game where people play. It was a funny family game. Let me show you how this game is. So wait just a moment. Now, in case you know this game was called Little Big Planet, and this game was released and this game had debuted in 2008. Came out 17 years, literally. And I'm sorry for taking me that long to search it. I'm like looking for 2008, how year it is. It's 17 years. So yeah, this Little Big Planet debuted in October 27, 2008, was 17 years ago. Oh, and I know it took me that long to search it and try to search what the game debuted. It did until a Little Big Planet was fun and all that stuff, but until bad stuff happens, literally, because the Sony had decided to shut that Little Big Planet down because they got something wrong with it, having a hack, and shut down the game and online with it. Leave the creator stuff behind. So that's what I heard about. It was on an iceberg, Frank's literally in an iceberg. But it was all the years I've been seeing, and I already got Little Big Planet. And I remember a year ago, I played Little Big Planet since 2012 in our PlayStation 3. And obviously, we didn't get the game in 2008 since it came out. Now, my mom just decided to buy us the random game. My brother choosing to play Little Big Planet. It was really a fun game. You can create your own stuff, create your own levels, create your own videos. And oh yeah, I have been seeing a lot of Little Big Planet videos too as well. So, yeah, all that stuff has been falling to the icebergs for real. But then again, this video is 22 minutes, and I was looking at this. I see some other horror stuff on it on this thumbnail. In case you noticed all that thing I posted. So yeah. Now before we start, this YouTuber upload. He made a video in 2020 of this part. So this is going to be different. It's going to be a bumpy ride. So let's just, enough with the talking, let's just play this video. And oh yeah, I had came back home at the library and it was cold. Like literally cold outside. And I had to come home to make something to eat. So yeah, that's just enough with the talk. Let's play this video.
From the very beginning, Little Big Planet was a game created to never stop giving. A game with infinite replayability and endless creative freedom.
Yep.
Over the past 15 years, we've seen quite a bit come from this community, whether it's levels, films, and even a bit of drama. But today, I'm going to focus on the chilling, mysterious side of the community. The myths, the urban legends, and conspiracies that spread from player to player. Stories both known and unknown. And who knows, by the end of this video, maybe you too will have a story to tell. You might know some of these topics, you might not, but I promise there's at least some surprises in this video, so stay tuned. With that out of the way, let's get into some Little Big Planet myths and urban legends. Sackboy.exe.
Sackboy. Oh! What in the world? Where was that?
If you were both into creepypastas and Little Big Planet back...
Footage by Dan
Their prime, you might remember a little something called Sackboy.exe. This was
Similar
a
to
fairly
Sonic
popular
EXE.
creepypasta within the LBP community and spanned across multiple levels by multiple different creators. The person that started it all, though, was someone by the name of the Unknown One. This person was the original creator of Sackboy.exe and would go on to make an entire level series on LBP2, as well as develop actual lore and backstory with each new published level. The OG series of Sackboy.exe featured levels such as Play, Create, Die, Sackboy.unzipped, and Deception, all of which would later get moved or published to another account called The Death of Sackboy. This level series attempted to mimic the horror of popular creepypasta computer games such as Sonic.exe, which adds up as that was the pinnacle of early 2010s video game horror. But when it comes to the story,
I need to give me some water too, so yeah.
What goes. When playing Little Big Planets, there will be a point in time where you cause your Sackboy to either burn, drown, or even pop themselves. No matter what you do, Sackboy's death is inevitable. But that's fine, because levels typically have checkpoints that respawn Sackboy every time you mess up. It's not like there's a consequence of letting your Sackboy fall into some poisonous gas or get killed by some spikes, right? Well, what if that wasn't the case? What if the game remembers every single death you're held accountable for? And every time a copy of your Sackboy is carelessly killed, a new one is created from the last copy. Every death executes a restart and repeat life cycle. A life cycle that begins with Sackboy.exe, the original copy. The one that cannot be killed. The one that cannot be deleted. The one that every Sackboy and girl cannot live without. The one that must suffer every time you die. Supposedly, Sackboy.exe first came into existence when the Memorizer was added to LBP2 in an update.
No joke,
With the Memorizer collecting data from every player, it stored that memory of every single...
Oh, I had to take a pause for a minute. Like, seeing those creators, I need to take a look. I'm just need to search the Unknown One. I know it's kind of weird. I know it's kind of weird for me to like search it, but heck is YouTube for real. Oh my God, this was 2 years ago, and he has 1 million views. And when I looked at it, this guy had 1 million views on it, and it was 2 years ago. It was 43 minutes. Like, that is actually ridiculous. But I don't know. I don't think I'll react to this guy's video, but that not had to wait. But I'm just have to see it myself before I end this video. But anyways,
Sackboy death into the original copy, leading to Sackboy.exe possessed levels appearing within the LBP community. Levels that show a clear distaste for the player. The levels themselves are disturbing and are meant to frighten the player by showing them just how many times they killed off Sackboy without a second thought. And even if you tried to delete the Memorizer data from your game, Sackboy.exe will remain. IMG 1126. On April 18th, 2023, a strange LBP gameplay video called IMG 1126. On April 18th, 2023, a strange LBP gameplay video called IMG 1126 was uploaded to YouTube. The name itself seems completely random and irrelevant to Little Big Planet, but if the user had uploaded this straight from an old iPod or iPhone and didn't rename the video file, that would probably explain the weird naming scheme. Anyways, this 1 minute and 12-second video shows the player going through the Gardens level first steps from Little Big Planet 1's story mode. Besides the awful camera quality, everything seems normal as the player walks into the scripted death pit. This is where the narrator, Stephen Fry, explains how to use the retry option in your pop in order to respawn at the next checkpoint. If you listen closely though, Stephen's dialogue is a bit glitchy, and eventually, the tutorial video just straight up freezes. The player uses the retry button regardless, which seems to softlock the game, but shortly afterwards, this happens.
Occasionally, you're going to get stuck.
Whoa!
The player spawns in a dark room, seemingly out of bounds, as what sounds like a slowed down rendition of Left Bank 2 plays in the background. As the player walks forward,
on? I see a light.
You
Can't see your character.
Until
what? Sackboy? Oh, what the heck is that?
This video is by far one of my favorite creepypasta at...
Whoa, okay. Like, I have not seen a Little Big Planet like this. Like, dang. And you're gonna make it creepy like this? Like, I did not expecting that. But this? How can it be so creepy? Oh
this
my
video is
God,
by far one of my favorite creepypasta-esque LBP creations out there, and I'm not even going to try and explain or speculate how they accomplished this in LBP 1 of all games, because that would just ruin the magic of it. It's a really neat video though, and I highly recommend checking out the original for yourselves. The Bloody Man object, one of Little Big Planet's strangest mysteries, has to do with an object known as the Bloody Man. This creepy-looking object was initially believed to be part of an early build of LBP 1. But I'm sorry to tell you, that doesn't seem to be the case. The info that this was an unused object within the game was a misunderstanding that spread because of my own LBP iceberg video in 2020. It was one of the main reasons I even made the iceberg to begin with, but it took me until recently to learn that it wasn't really all that special. The true origins of the Bloody Man actually comes from a promotional magazine for the first LBP game called Little Big Vice. This promo magazine, which was clearly a collaboration between Sony and Vice magazine, was actually pretty cool, as it features some exclusive interviews, pictures of Sackboy plushies wearing legitimate clothing brands, and even a few pages dedicated to LBP-themed album art parodies. What we're looking for, though, is on pages 42 and 43. These pages showcase a spooky castle level made by Will Hudson, an illustrator that works for Vice. And if you look closely, not just one, but two of the infamous Bloody Men objects appear on the castle's first floor, which were seemingly meant to represent zombies. So no, the Bloody Man object was never meant for a scrapped story level in LBP 1. However, I wasn't wrong about an icon for the Bloody Man object being found in a PS3 test kit in 2020. That part is true. However, it seems that the test kit simply had leftover data from when Will Hudson was making the castle level for Little Big Vice. Considering this magazine would have been made before the game released, Media Molecule promptly invited Will to their studio along with other Vice employees to create levels on in-house development kits. That does make it all come full circle and fully explain the mystery, but I do apologize for accidentally starting an entire hoax within the LBP community. That's kind of my bad. LBP has ties to the Mexican Revolution. So this wild theory started about a year ago when I made a YouTube short covering an Easter egg related to the wedding background in LBP 1. In this short, I talked about a secret message written in Spanish that can be located on one of the tombstones in the wedding background. While the text is pretty hard to make out, we can brighten the actual texture file and decipher what the text says in Spanish and translate it to English, which gives us this. Very trustworthy observers believe that here lies the remains of John Doe, famous American newspaper writer who, under the suspicion of being a spy, was shot and buried at this place. Very strange message, and I wrote it off as just some cool little Easter egg and not much else, but somebody by the name of Jackman12359 left 2 comments on my video, as well as a post on the LBP subreddit that goes into much more detail about the secret message, explaining that it might actually have a connection to real-world events, including the Mexican Revolution. And just so I don't get anything wrong or mixed up, I'm just going to read exactly what they posted. This is actually a very deep Easter egg. An interesting detail that I'm surprised you didn't point out were the dates listed on the stone. 1842 to 1914. These are significant because these dates strictly align with an individual named Ambrose Bierce. He was an American Civil War veteran, writer, and most notably a journalist who disappeared in Mexico in 1913 during the height of the Mexican Revolution. He was planning on doing a report on the revolution there, but was allegedly captured by Mexican troops and killed a year later. It is unknown which side of the revolution killed him or exactly the reasoning for his killing, but whoever at MM was designing the area, they believed that they thought he was an American spy. Come to think of it, if the theory that he was shot and buried at this place is true, then why was he buried in front of a church? Bierce was notably critical against religion, stating that it suffered from corruption in many of his papers. This could also explain which side could have captured, shot, and buried Bierce. With this reasoning, it would have most likely have been the troops under the incumbent Victoriana Huerta regime, rather than under the social revolutionary Emiliano Zapata. And now that I'm realizing that there are many similarities between Emiliano Zapata and the main antagonist of the Canyons area in LBP1, Sheriff Zapata, they even have the same name. They were both bandits, caused torment on civilian populations, and had killer sombreros. This implies that there is some sort of connection between the Mexican Revolution and LBP. Why is this a thing? I don't know, but it's very cool. And I completely agree. This is definitely some pretty cool stuff. And considering the similarities, it's hard not to believe it was intentional. I do think Media Molecule was genuinely taking real-world events into account when developing backstory for LBP1's level themes, such as incorporating the Mexican Revolution into the wedding's lore. I know this is less so a conspiracy or urban legend, as it's actually a pretty believable theory, but I wanted to include it regardless, as I haven't heard many people talk about it besides this one person. It's also just a good insight in how exactly MM was inspired to create some of the LBP1 story worlds. The Curious Case of Nathan Ruck. The Little Big Planet introduction level is a very iconic part of the series. Every LBP game has them, and they all follow a similar formula. It teaches you how to play the game and introduces you to many of the developers that made it. Left Bank 2 typically plays in the background, with Stephen Fry always there to narrate the tutorials placed throughout. In Little Big Planet 1, though, there's a very odd secret hidden within this intro level. You can't really access it through normal gameplay, and you would need a way to enter the level in Create mode. After doing so, hover until you see this specific cardboard material and hide it with your poppet cursor. Hiding this part of the level reveals a black and white photo of a man with what seems like a bullet hole sticker in his head. This mysterious man is Nathan Ruck, a developer in Media Molecule that worked on LBP, and if you look up just a little bit, you can clearly see that Nathan and his photo still appear in the intro level's credits. It wasn't unused or anything, so why is there a copy of this same picture with a bullet hole in his head? That's awfully out of place, even for an Easter egg you were never meant to see. It's incredibly strange, and it can imply a whole bunch of things. Before we get ahead of ourselves, it was probably just a harmless mistake left over during development. I don't even think it was meant to be an Easter egg, to be honest with you. But why that sticker? Why a bullet hole of all things?
Your tax is 100% free in the app if you didn't file with us last year. Just file with TurboTax, do it yourself.
LBP Ghost. Sometime after the PS3 Little Big Planet server shutdown in 2021, a series of posts were made by the user LBP Ghost Hunter on the LBP subreddit. These posts were peculiar, as they claimed that a strange phenomenon may be occurring within Little Big Planet itself post-server shutdown. Their first post surrounding this strange occurrence was put out on January 10th, 2022. This first post was titled, "Real Ghost Found in Little Big Planet." A few screenshots capturing this so-called ghost are included, and this is their explanation. "I booted up my game for the first time in years. When I got to my pod, I saw a ghost. A real ghost. I was sitting in my pod admiring the stars and planets in the background when suddenly it appeared. I didn't know what to make of this. It had a hollow, gaping mouth and soulless eyes, and stood completely still for a few seconds before going to the window, then running at me.
It looks freaking
After
terrified with that look.
It vanished." To the average person, these screenshots look similar to a well-documented glitch known as the Ghost Sackboy glitch. But LBP Ghost Hunter is confident that this was no glitch, speculating that it may actually be connected to the death of LBP's servers. As time went on, LBP Ghost Hunter would continue to post updates on the situation, with more screenshots and even footage. The second post was made a day later, on January 11th. Ghost Hunter claims that the LBP Ghost is back, and is even following them into story levels. Video evidence of this ghost will be posted a few hours later, and in it, you can see the soulless phantom slowly creep up on Ghost Hunter before completely vanishing into thin air.
Ad,
this would be the last post from LBP Ghost Hunter for a while, implying something terrible might have happened to them after that last post. But in March of that year, the Ghost Hunter would return, putting people's worries to rest. And with this return came new findings. After doing some ghost hunting in LBP, our ghost hunter friend stumbled across something horrific. After waiting in the pod for some time, the screensaver eventually kicked in. But this wasn't the typical LBP screensaver. No, this was something even more disturbing. The ghost was back, appearing in front of what looks like a mangled corpse of Sackboy himself. And you might not see it, but this graphic scene makes everything come together, as the LBP ghost does represent the afterlife of LBP servers, and the mangled Sackboy corpse is a visual representation of Sony's horrible treatment of this series over the past few years. The cherry on top is that the ghost hunter later received a photo in the PS3 photo album of this mangled Sackboy corpse. They explained that this photo was not taken by them, which can mean only one thing. This was the doing of a paranormal entity of some kind, perhaps a lost soul that is trying to find their way back home, a home that no longer exists. It can only be the ghost of LBP servers. Riskbreaker 01.
What's it?
Now, this next LBP urban legend is probably the biggest mystery of them all, and I've been dying to talk about it ever since I learned of its existence all the way back in 2020. In fact, I planned on having this be the end to my second LBP iceberg video, but I figured that this video would be as good a chance as any to finally talk about it. While I don't particularly like talking about individual members in the LBP community, Little Big Planet just happens to be a game series so tied to its community that it's hard to really ignore sometimes, especially when it's something so fascinating.
But true though, even though I haven't even seen Little Big Planet that time since that time years ago, and PlayStation 3 has been tore up. Even though I still remember a Little Bit Planet, the creation and the style and all that stuff. Sometimes you just moving on in your life till they shut down. And always kept having a Little Bit Planet in your head, and it never keeps that away.
That it just deserves to be documented. Now, in Little Big Planet, before the server shut down, there was a level called the Love and Marriage, supposedly one of the first levels ever created, as it was released on October 12th, 2008, a date that came before the release of Little Big Planet 1. Most likely meaning that this was a level made during the beta. It also happens to be the very first pic, apparently used to propose to someone back in 2008. Which, is nice and all, but what we're looking for are the comments on this level. Because back when the servers were up, you would notice that a user called the Riskbreaker01 would consistently post cryptic messages underneath the level's comment section. Riskbreaker01 would also go under a few alt accounts, such as Riskbreaker02 and 03, but ultimately they were all the same person. These comments were posted consistently for years, all the way up until September 14th, 2021. It's impossible to check these comments now, as all of the comments and reviews were wiped when the servers went offline in early 2024. But I still have proof. I have footage I recorded all the way back in 2021 when I was planning on covering this in a video. And while the footage is minimal in comparison to just how many messages were posted, it gives a decent look at just how strange this individual was. I do know that these comments went back several years, as there were quite literally thousands of them. One comment typically posted each day. No more, no less. The messages themselves, like I said, are very strange. Mainly because they don't make any goddamn sense. This was supposedly a human being committed to posting mumbo-jumbo every single day of their life. And this was long before the modern-day surge of AI bots and fake accounts posting nonsense on sites like YouTube and Twitter. This was LBP in the 2010s to early 2020s. I doubt there was something like an AI chatbot made for LBP comments back then. Words such as MLP or characters from the My Little Pony series were used constantly. Pop culture stuff in general, such as Scooby-Doo, Frozen, or even just Google, were used. I've even seen LBP YouTubers mentioned by name, such as NerdyAnt64, and other random YouTubers such as DSP Gaming, Why Darkside Phil, Anyways, it's speculated that maybe Riskbreaker used trendy words and phrases to gain more attention. Maybe because they thought that tagging the comment with these words would boost them in some type of algorithm? An algorithm that'll lead them to their profile?
They probably like
I don't
kids.
really know. But what I do know is that the rabbit hole goes much deeper than that. Along with posting comments on the love and marriage level, Riskbreaker would post in-game screenshots of themselves placing stickers in the same exact spot of that same exact level. And there were thousands of these screenshots as well. Every single one of them were the same type of screenshot. A Sackboy wearing a Santa Claus costume standing in front of a cardboard wall. And while they were the same format, each screenshot would have different sets of stickers placed all over the place, including stickers related to My Little Pony, once again, My Hero Academia, and a bunch of other random stuff. I'm not entirely sure how this would have been automated. Again, this was during a time where chatbots were not that common. Especially for something like Little Big Planet. How would that work in game? It had to be a person doing this. I'm not judging this person whatsoever. As long as you're not hurting anyone, I believe you should be able to do whatever the hell you want in Little Big Planet, even if it's something out of the ordinary like this. Though I will admit, I am fascinated with this Riskbreaker character and would like to know what their goal was. Their dedication is eerily impressive, and I would love to know more about why they did this. I am a little freaked out though, because after looking through the comments of my iceberg video a few years ago, I noticed that somebody with a very similar writing style to Riskbreaker has been commenting on my videos. And in those comments, Riskbreaker is mentioned by name. So, putting two and two together, I came to the conclusion that Riskbreaker themselves is aware of my existence and is watching my videos. It's very likely that they're watching this video as well. And Riskbreaker, if you are watching this, I know it might seem a little weird or awkward seeing yourself highlighted in something like this, but I really have nothing against you. Believe it or not, over the years, people have noticed the comments you've posted on Love and Marriage, and they've all tried making some sense of it all. But if you couldn't guess, nobody really could.
All by him.
And that covers just about all of the Little Big Planet urban legends, myths, and conspiracies I can find. I'm sure there's plenty of other ones out there, and if you know some yourself, feel free to share them with me in the comments below. I know some of these topics fit the criteria of urban legend more than others, but to tell you the truth, most of the topics here are from scrapped or unfinished videos that I've been holding on to for quite a while. I figured that if I didn't talk about them soon, they'd probably end up being forgotten along with a bunch of other video ideas I had. It's good to get this stuff out though, and what better time than Halloween to talk about some scary LBP oddities. Thanks for watching though, I'll see you guys next time, and happy Halloween.
That was pretty good. The urban legend hitting with something. But that EXE of Sackboy was kind of creepy. And the other one was a loud noise. Yikes. Another thing, in that mysterious person go by the name of Nathan, of the person who have a bullet in his head, have a darn bullet right into his head. Like, I didn't even know that. Know that there was I don't know if it's some kind of secret or some other crew just don't like the man, and or something else. I just don't know, bro. Literally. And there are some weird people with this Little Big Planet until it shut down. Like, what I have learned out of today, I just don't know what to say else. Just goddamn, literally. But alright, you guys, that was it for today. And I was just sitting at home trying to take a little relaxation, playing me some games and eating this pizza right here. So yeah, so that was it for this video. So alright, you guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to click the like, subscribe button, and click the notification bell. Oh yeah, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram on my description. I was trying to upload something else today. Well, in case you already look at that on my community post. So yeah, this is Shadow Nest, you down here, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.